Hello explorers and welcome to another video. Today it's Java 26 day. This is where we are doing the first ramp down of the code, trying to freeze all the code paths and finalize the code to actually be released later on. All the features that I will cover today is what will be in this release. Some of them is, of course, preview things that is not really released, just something that you can try out. And we also have some things that are coming again because they are tried and tried and tried again because they are really important for the ecosystem. And so we have seen them before, but we're going to cover them again. As I have a cup of coffee that is required for this reading, and let's get into it. So I have called this Java 26 Performant Modernization. The release date for it is the 2026 03/17, so March 17th will be the release date. So let's switch over to the next one here. First we are talking about JEP 500. And this is prepare to make final, the actual keyword final, to mean final. We have a bunch of different things in Java that could do reflection, that could change behavior afterwards. And that makes the compilation and also unrolling of code paths and so on very complicated, because you can't really know that something that is told to be final, constant, will not change, is final. So going forward, they are going to send out a bunch of warnings saying that finals should be final, and in later release they will be final. So don't even try to do reflection on these. The problematic part is that there is a bunch of these testing frameworks that are doing reflections on finals. They need to find another way to handle that. And we also have another thing that we will talk about later in this roundup that is also about final. So we will take that when it comes. Next up we have JEP 504. Remove the applet API. And this should have been done long ago. Applets are these things that we are running in our web browser that is running Java code on your machine. And this have not been supported in Java or in web browsers since the IE time, pretty much. I haven't seen it in any web browser. I think Firefox had support for it. I don't think even Chrome had any applets built into them at all. So this has been deprecated for a long while. So I don't really know why it has been in the Java code at all. But I guess that these kind of old systems that are running Java applets in some IE container that was maintained by enterprise needed this API. And slowly but surely those applications have been deprecated, or they are staying on the same Java version probably and will never phase out. That's the sad truth about this, but we will remove it from the Java source code at least, so we don't have these applets that nobody uses or should use. Next up we have 5.16 ahead of time compilation, object caching. So this is the ahead of time compilation that you can compile into a file that you later can run. And the problematic part there was that the file that you were created was a little bit connected to what GC you wanted to run later. So if you ran something and created this file with one GC and then tried to run it in production with another GC, you could have problematic reading the format, or you could have some strange behavior. So what they're trying to do with this JEP is to make a more generic API that you can write down this code or cache the objects into, so it will work with any of the garbage collectors. So this is pretty much the consensus of this thing. Next up we have JEP 5.17, and this is just adding support for HTTP 3 into the HTTP client API. And they have been doing a rebuild of the HTTP client API over time, where they're trying to make the interfaces in this client easier to update and easier to add functionality. And now that it's done, they could add the HTTP 3 support. They have not added any quick support to it, or will never add that. HTTP 3 built some quick, but they will not have support for that protocol. You have to use something else for that. Next up, we have JEP 522, and this is the G1 GC. So this is the one that is actually running by default in Java. So if you're not supplying any extra parameters to say I want to use this garbage collector, this is the one that you are running. And this one had some things that were synchronized when it did the GC, which made the wait times longer than needed. So they are trying to find a way to reduce the synchronization so you can get more throughput and smaller times where you're doing GC, so smaller windows where actually GC is happening, even and not lose on the actual performance of the GC. So you can actually remove as many objects but not have this stop time being as long. So that's what they're trying to do here. Next up, we have JEP 524, and this is the PEM encodings encryption objects API. We have talked about this in the last Java version. So it's pretty much adding support for reading and writing PEM files into Java. This is the second preview, so they're still working on it. So it might be finalized in later versions. We have JEP 525, structured concurrency. We have seen this one before also. This is the 6th preview, and it's pretty much where you have a bunch of different forked processes, and then you want to have one response. You want to join the actual result. So you run 2 different threads. They may take different amount of time, but you want them to complete at the same time and give one response back. So that is pretty much the thing that they are trying to find a good API for. Next up, we have lazy constants, and this was called stable values in the previous release. So this is the same concept. You have something that you want to be final and you want to initiate it later. So we have an example here. Before you had a private logger that you put into null because you couldn't initiate it. Now you don't really know if you will use it. So doing that extra work, setting up a logger, might not be reasonable. So you will create a logger on use instead. So now you can write final lazy constant, this logger, and then you have this initialization where we'll create the logger. And this will only be running when the logger is down here. So when the first get of the logger is run, and you are typing this order started, then it will initialize it, not before then. So that's what this lazy constant is giving you. Next up, we have the vector API, 11th incubator. We have talked about this for 11 Java releases. But this is an extremely important API where you're talking about native memory and having a good access to them so you can do machine learning and similar things. So getting this right is important. Take your time, but we are still working on it. Next up, we have JEP 530, and this is primitive types in patterns, instance of, switches, and so on. This is the 4th preview, and this is pretty much where you have a switch statement where you want to have different expressions and similar things in the switch statements. So they are doing another try on this to get this right. And this was what was in this Java release. I hope that you found this interesting. Is there anything that you thought was really cool, really interesting? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And I really hope to see you in the next video.